Welcome to the People's Guild.
Each week we explore the Splinterlands universe with guests from all across the mythical land of Praetoria.
Join us on our journey as we discuss the evolution of the game, the strategy, the lore, and the exciting path that lies ahead.
To support the People's Guild, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and also check us out on PeakD, YouTube, and Twitter.
Send your questions, suggestions, and epic battles in our comments through Twitter or email at thepeoplesguildspl@gmail.com. We'll feature the best in our episodes and maybe airdrop you some prizes.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the People's Guild. Another week, another episode, doubleheader part 2 coming at you. One we've been super excited about for quite some time. She is, I think, everybody's at least one of everybody's favorite team members. She seems to be always there for the voice of customer service and managing requests and circling back to requests, and you're offering good suggestion if you hear from this lady on Discord. So it's our absolute pleasure to present to you guys our conversation with LilyFire. Welcome to the People's Guild, Lily. It's wonderful to meet you. Great to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, so glad you're here. Super excited to have you on, and definitely been looking forward to this one. We were talking a little bit before we got rolling about kind of like working in the service industry. Obviously, you have such like a service role with Splinterlands, and we were talking about working in a bar in college. Was that your first service industry job, or did you have any when did you first start? Did you do any high school or anything before that working in service industry? What was your very first service industry job?
My very first service industry job was working at a Wegmans during high school. And it's kind of a family tradition. Like, I have 4 brothers. All of us have worked at Wegmans, just bagging those groceries, and that's your first really good look into the service industry. So I'd highly recommend it. And I'll definitely be making my children work in the service industry.
Nice. Yeah. As someone, my first, I first kind of 2 jobs actually when I was younger. I grew up in a shore town, as we talked about before, in South Jersey Shore, and so there's always summer jobs, and almost all kids who grow up there have some type of service industry summer job. And I delivered newspapers and worked with kids who were selling newspapers for the Philadelphia Inquirer and Daily News, but I also worked at a takeout seafood restaurant, doing fried chicken, working the fryers, doing all kinds of washing dishes, peeling shrimp, shucking oysters, all kinds of, kind of crazy stuff. But I really think it's so important. And anyone I talk to, my wife, one of her jobs in college, she waitressed at a Cosi, which is a sandwich shop for people who aren't aware. There's sandwich chain in America. And anytime I have to interview anyone for any position or anything like that, I'm always, even if it's completely unrelated, I ask them do you have any service industry experience? I totally agree with that. Making your kids do it. I think it's really important to everyone should, kind of experience that and go through that. Work in one of those positions, because it's just so important for so many aspects of all your life, and even just to learn how to treat people like a decent person.
Yeah,
which,
right.
I feel we'll probably get into that a little bit later. People on Discord maybe struggle with that. So maybe there's a lot of people in the community who, need to go take a couple shifts at a fast food restaurant for a while just to kind of see, or something like that. So, but yeah, so no, I think that's awesome. So Wegmans, are you a big fan of Wegmans? I hear, so Wegmans just opened up by us in DC.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, and some people who grew up with Wegmans are crazy about Wegmans. I don't get it. Are you one of those diehard, I'm crazy about Wegmans, is the best grocery store ever, it's amazing, or what's your take on it?
I am. So I can definitely admit it when I am indoctrinated into something. And Wegmans is one of those things. I grew up in a relatively small town, and Wegmans was not only the place where we shopped, but it was also a big social gathering place. they live in a very walkable town. So it was always like, let's meet at Wegmans and like walk to where we need to go. And they just have a really high quality product. But I feel like I'm shilling Wegmans a bit too much. So
Not sponsored content. This episode has not been sponsored by Wegmans. We'll just make that clear. But no, it's cool. I get it. I mean, like it's definitely there's I can see why people like it. To me, I don't know. I just like don't like big giant grocery stores. I feel like it's all the one. I mean, I've only been in like maybe two Wegmans. I don't know if they're all like this, but I feel like I like smaller kind of like markets and grocery stores, like as opposed to just like these big giant things that almost feel like they're way too big, they're too expansive, like you're in a big warehouse. I like maybe, kind of like half the square footage.
I
But
get
that might
it.
just be like what I was used to growing up with, is going to smaller like markets and corner stores and even the grocery stores we had where I grew up. And, especially living in DC now where, the square footage is not huge on places. There's not like, it's not as big. So yeah, I don't know.
I get it. To each his own. I would definitely recommend giving that Wegmans a try around 10 o'clock at night when it's not so busy. Because it can definitely, I definitely get some sensory overload in there sometimes when there are a lot of people and they're actually rearranging my Wegmans now. So I'm like, it's been like this since I was a child. How dare you? So yeah, I get it, but it's worth a
Yeah.
shot though.
Yeah. So our kind of like meetup spot like that was always like a Wawa. Like there's always like a local, growing up in South Jersey, there's always like a local Wawa. You wanted to meet up or you wanted to like go somewhere like late night to get food, or even if you were like wanted to just go somewhere and like people watch like really late at night.
Yeah,
Go to
that's good
people
stuff.
watch at like a place like that. It's funny to see like people who are like really drunk and or whatever and like weird coming through at like late at night. Definitely a fun time. So, but like, all right, so if you have like one Wegmans like specialty item or department or something that's your favorite, that if someone's like, all right, never been to Wegmans before, and you're like, all right, you got to go and try this or get this. What is it?
Half Moon cookie,
Okay.
hands down. Some people prefer a more cake-like Half Moon cookie. Some people prefer a more brownie-like Half Moon cookie. I prefer right in the middle. Wegmans has the sweet spot. They're nice and chewy. And plus, the frosting ratio is stellar. Like you want a nice mound of frosting on there, chocolate and vanilla. Like they're great. Special
So
treat once in a
is
while.
is that like the so half moon? Is that the like the black and white, like the half?
Yeah,
Okay, like the black
yeah,
and white. Okay,
chocolate
okay,
base, black and white on top, best of both
okay,
worlds.
okay.
Right there.
All right.
And you guys are dropping names and brands that are so foreign to me. I feel like such an
Aw.
outsider. Like not growing up in like Central America, West Texas, and then moving further west with Arizona and Colorado. None of this stuff is like you guys are talking. I'm in the background Googling, trying to understand
Oh
what the
man.
hell you guys are talking about.
You don't know like a standard like Brooklyn like black and white cookie? Like it's got like a
I know
little bit of
black
like
and
a
white
Venice.
cookie.
Okay,
That's
okay,
that's what we call it. It's
okay.
I guess it's one of those colloquial terms like soda. We called everything a Coke. What kind of Coke do you want? Oh, I want a Dr. Pepper. And my
Ah,
cousins grew up in Chicago, and it was always a pap. I want a pap.
Pop, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
interesting. It's always soda for me, but I
Mhm.
guess we'll have to get together and send you a Wegmans care package so that you can appreciate the majesty.
Wonderful. So I'm curious. So I completely agree with the service industry comments also, and Hep, it's interesting that even though we couldn't work in it, between the three of us, we work in very, very different worlds of career relative respective career paths. I ask the exact same question: is what is your experience with the service industry? And it's interesting that the one guy we've recently made the decision to let somebody go at the company, and he was a bit of a toss up in terms of whether or not we bring this guy aboard initially. And one of the things we noted early on was he didn't have any service industry
Mm,
experience. The
mhm.
rest of the folks that are kind of full timers and staples at the company are all veterans of the service industry, in particular working in the kitchen. Yeah, so it's such a great dose of humility and perspective of what it's like to be on the other side and just having that understanding of what it means to offer a human touch and not be a complete asshole.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting.
Are you
Interesting stuff.
So before we shift off this topic, I gotta ask. So since I feel like this is a good crowd to ask it, the movie Waiting. Have you guys
Oh
all
my
seen the movie
gosh.
Waiting? Familiar with Waiting? So
Yeah.
good, right? It's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I have
It's a
never
great
seen
movie. A
Waiting.
little too accurate at
It's a
times.
li-
I feel
it's a
like they kind of like let some secrets out that were better left, secret, but it's fine. It's
I
hilarious.
agree 100%. You've never seen it,
I've
Jangles?
never seen it. No.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
you've got to watch it. You got to watch it like immediately. Yeah, this weekend. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, so good.
It's so good. It's so good. If you've ever worked in a restaurant or a bar or anything, you
Mhm.
will 100% appreciate it. Yeah, and even some of like the newer stuff out, like watching The Bear. I don't know if you guys have watched like The Bear on
I haven't
FX.
seen that one.
Okay, so that's like, he's in, they're in like it's like a higher end type restaurant thing, but it's still like that. Like I remember the first season, there was like one scene where it's just like this chaos going on, and the guy like goes into the walk-in, like walks into the walk-in, like shuts the door and just sits there and like breathes for like 30 seconds before walking out. I was like, oh yeah,
We can
I've
all
been there.
relate to
I've,
He
that
knows
moment
it.
right there. Oh
I've
yeah.
been
Yeah.
going into that nice cool walk-in, especially the place I worked, was only, it was a summertime restaurant and there was no AC in it at all. And it's just like
Mhm.
ovens and fryers and everything. It's so hot. So like getting that time like by yourself in the walk-in was like
Mhm.
something people would fight over. And like you would get, if someone was in there and you tried to go in there even to get something, like you would get yelled at if someone like was taking their like 30 seconds to 1 minute of
chill
like
out
personal
moment.
space
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Yeah. Like get the F out of here. Like scream. Okay. Just like, whoa. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, that spot was running downstairs to change kegs in the middle of service in the nice cold refrigerated room, throwing kegs around, running back up the steps. Love that moment of silence and,
Yeah.
weightlifting.
Nice. Well, so let's talk kind of career path after service industry stuff, restaurant, bar, service industry stuff. You're obviously still very customer facing. You interact with a whole slew of the community on a regular basis. I think you're selling yourself short and saying that you're only present every couple of days. I feel like, just about every day I tag something, I almost immediately hear a response, and it's just awesome and refreshing to, especially now that we're seeing that sense of positivity that you bring on a daily basis. It's completely genuine. It's authentic. It's not just a show for Discord. For obviously nobody can see this, but Lily is having this entire conversation with a smile cracking her lips, and
Aw.
it's awesome. So what kind of brought you to Team Splinterlands? How long have you been here? And let's start there.
Yeah. All right. So first, I'd like to thank you very much for the compliment. It's definitely means a lot to me. So it's nice to be seen, and I appreciate that you're sharing that it comes across. So thank you. But basically, what brought me to Splinterlands? So prior to working in Splinterlands, I'm actually a licensed massage therapist in the state of New York. And I taught massage at one of our schools, helping young people to get certified. So in New York State, it's a pretty rigorous program. You need 1,000 hours hands-on. We do like a cadaver lab, lots of A&P, lots of science-based stuff, and we have to stay up to date with our credits every year. Needless to say, the pandemic kind of killed things there. So early on, I kind of found myself looking for, something new. And to just back up a little bit, Royal Eagle, who's, we have kids together and we've been together for a little while now. He joined the game in 2018. And I remember him talking to me about this game, and he was like so pumped up about it. He's like, "Oh, you can buy these cards like this land and stuff." And I was like, "Okay, show me." And he's like, "Well, there's no pictures yet." And I'm like, "What?" This is like the
Nice
latest,
sell,
whatever.
Eagle.
Yeah, right? Seriously. I was like, this is like, okay, we all need our hobbies. I'll be supportive. Whatever. Um, so then let's see, later in 2018, when battles started, I think it was like in the fall, I remember him showing me a battle and he was like so stoked about this battle. He's like, oh my gosh, like this game, I bought these cards, we can play battles, you can see the battles now. And I just remember him showing me his phone and like this fireball just like slowly crossed the screen. And I'm just like looking at him and looking at the fireball and looking at him. And I'm just like, what is this? Like, why are you? It's like when a kid comes up to you and like shows you a worm they just dug up. I was just like, what? So so long story short, like he continued to be involved in the game. I'm sure, all of you guys know about Royal Eagle. I don't really have to go into a whole spiel about him. So later on, he joined the team and he had been spending so much time on the game. He joined the team, and I would like mess with him. I'd be like, "Hey, like, you have a job? Are you making money?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Is it real money?" And it was real money. Whoa, like because you always hear about these scams online. Like, I got a job, whatever. It turned out it was a real job. Amazing. So at this point, 2021 uh bull market was happening, things were ramping up. They were looking for more support people to join the team, specifically a US citizen to help with the KYC identity verification stuff. And I was like, like I need something else. Like I need to like expand my horizons a little bit and give this a try. So it took him a few months to actually convince me to hop on board. But I was like, you know what? Like, what else do I have going on? Like, let's give this a try. So I met with Biz and he trained me on the KYC identification process. So basically KYC is it's what you have to do if you'd like to use PayPal, if you'd like to introduce fiat into the game. Just because we're a United States-based company, so we have to follow regulations. So if people were having a lot of issues getting into the game because the process wasn't great, like there were lots of little issues with it. I won't go into too much detail about that for security reasons, but since then, we've made our procedures much more robust and streamlined, so there shouldn't be that many issues with them. So let's see. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit.
No, that's I don't even remember.
Like,
I'll give you a break for a second. So
okay.
I feel like I didn't even know you had to did I mean I've set up my PayPal account. I've used it for years now. I mean, this is all, so long ago that I probably forget. But so I guess I don't remember doing a KYC process with Splinterlands. I thought I just
Yeah.
maybe connected my email address, but I guess maybe I did. So
I think early on you didn't have to, but then, now you kind of do.
okay, so maybe I
So
got in
if
like
you're
right
new,
before
maybe
it happened. Yeah,
don't
okay.
tell anyone.
I won't tell you what, yeah.
So when I got brought on as the KYC specialist after Biz had trained me up, I basically had a pile of hundreds of tickets to go through. Like they were just so underwater with these tickets. Biz was busy, like he was the only person on the team who could do them.
In the
So
weeds.
I pretty much hid behind a pile of tickets for like 2 months and just took care of all the tickets, took care of like all the things there. And then when I got through that, I started looking around, I was like, okay, like these people, they seem nice internally, I wasn't too much into Discord or other things
I'm glad you
at
made that
the time.
clarification because I was gonna ask for
Yeah,
that
that's a
clarification.
ginormous
Which people were
asterisk
you
there.
talking about?
The people in the company, and the customers that I interacted with, like they were very grateful. Some of them had been waiting for quite some time. to get their identities verified so they could get fiat in, and they didn't want to miss out on the awesomeness that was taking place. So after I got through that pile of tickets, I started just looking around and trying to, one, I guess, decide whether I wanted to, make a go of it. And I also just kind of wanted to evaluate my experience and decide whether to move forward. So ultimately I did, because I'm here. So let's see. So as far as learning the game goes, I definitely have a different perspective than, I feel like, if not most people, then some people, about Splinterlands, the game. See, I came into the game just wanting to learn how to play it, just wanting to play for fun. I live in a state where it's not that easy to get crypto in or out. So I had absolutely no expectations to earn anything. I didn't really care. Like, I would play and Royal would be like, "Did you claim your SPS?" I'm like, "I don't care. Like, I don't care about claiming. I don't care about staking. Like, I just want to learn the game because it's a game." And I just kind of have that kind of personality. Like, when I see something, it's a challenge and I want to do it and I want to learn it because it's stimulating for me mentally. Like, I have a whole collection of Rubik's cubes, different ones. This one's fun.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, I know that I'll probably never solve them and I don't care. Like, it's just fun for me to do it. So I literally just want to learn the game, like, don't care about other things. And one of the things that really pushed me towards it was I was starting to learn the game, and Royal had taught my 6-year-old kid to play the game. And I would play the game, blah, blah, blah. And my kid would come up and look over my shoulder and be like, "Mom, you shouldn't, that's a really bad tank. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you putting your team like that?" And then I'd lose. And my kid would just be so disappointed in me. They'd just be like,
brutal.
"That's it." So I found myself just like, they'd
I
come and
told
sit
you
next
so,
to me, and I'd
Mom.
just like hide my phone. I'd be like, I can't work under this pressure. I can't do it. But like, one of the great motivators in life when you have kids is to just be better than them, I guess. Like, I work out because I need to be able to chase them down, right? Like, I play Splinterlands because I need to be able to beat my
Beat
kid
them
in
at
Splinterlands
Splinterlands.
and like have them not be ashamed at me. Like, even just recently, I was playing a match and like my kid comes up behind me and is like, "Oh, that's not a very good team. I lost." And then he's just like, "No wonder you're in silver." Like, just pure disappointment. I'm just like,
Burn.
"Oh my God, why?"
Oh man,
Yeah.
when we had Royal on and he talked about, like playing with his kids, with their kids, and he told us about this, how, he got his kids into the game and stuff. And I never really considered that aspect of it. My kids are a little bit younger, and sometimes my daughter, who's my older one, who's 5.5, will like watch me play and be like, "Oh, what does that card do? What does that card? You click on that, click on that." She, hasn't grasped like the full mechanics of it yet. But I never even thought about that, where she get to the point where she would start critiquing me.
Yes.
Um, I mean, and so one thing I want to
And
ask, have you
ridiculing.
ever,
No
Yes.
wonder you're in silver.
yeah,
I know. It hurt. It was like right to
brutal.
the heart. Like, you can't say anything. And this was in modern recently, and I've been trying to grind modern and get, to gold, to diamond, somewhere in modern. And it just really hurt my feelings. But of course I was like, "Okay, honey, just like, you know,
Have you ever
not gonna
been
show you this
playing and
little tear."
have you ever been playing and like accidentally, like, or like not accidentally, but like, have you ever like found out you've been like matched up with, I don't know, do your kids have their own account, or are they playing against one of the
They
Royals
do.
alts? They do have their own accounts. Have you ever had to
Yeah.
like match up and be like, oh, after the battle or when the battle started, you realize like, oh, I'm playing my kid, who's
No,
like
I
on the computer
haven't.
somewhere else? Okay.
No, thank
That would
goodness.
be funny. Yeah, I would
Couldn't live
say
it
that would
down.
be the most epic one of all, right? If
Yeah.
they beat you in that one-on-one match, then
Oh my
you'll
gosh.
never hear the end of that.
We do challenges sometimes, and I have absolutely no mercy because of those experiences. I'm just like, it's over. We're going full on. And I have a pretty good win rate then. But still, it still hurts a little bit. Yeah,
This whole
7 years.
conversation makes me so happy. No, number one, I had no idea that you and Royal were married. I independently knew that Royal had kids, so that'll you guys are Splinterland's favorite family, right off the
Aw.
bat. I gotta say that is so awesome. And number two, well done to your husband. He has clearly red pilled
I
Lily
know.
and brought you completely aboard. I always found it funny. He occasionally drops comments around, some of your kids' complaints around, oh, I don't have this promo card, or I want this one in gold foil. Is it's such a fun journey to think about, Royal trying to sell you on completely imaginary land with no visual to support it, and now
Yeah.
you guys have kids together and they're fighting over promo cards and gold foils. It's just
Yeah.
so awesome.
It's so funny. And I do have to credit Royal with giving me another little push to get really good at the game. So he started me off like totally spoiled. Like I was so spoiled. Like he delegated me thousands of dollars in cards. He'd be like, "Do you have a llama? Do you have a cron?" I'd be like, "I don't know. I don't care.
I
I
don't know what that
literally
is.
don't
Yeah.
care. Just like give me some cards so I can play. I don't care what they are." And he'd be like, "Do you have this one, that one?" And now I've come to really appreciate those cards. But so he had delegated me a bunch of cards, and I was like playing the game, grinding, as you do. Like grinding, it's kind of just a way of life, and it's fine. I like it. So I was grinding, got up to like gold, and this was before modern and wild were a thing. So I go over and I'm like really proud of myself. I'm like, hey, like I got up to gold. Check this out. And he's like, oh, good job. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go for diamond next. And he was like, oh, you can't play in diamond. And I was just like instantly like infuriated and just like eyes
How
narrowed.
dare
Oh
you?
It's
yeah.
I have a
on,
question.
bro.
How
So
dare you?
so then I proceeded to just sit on the couch and grind every single day up to diamond. And I got to diamond and I go show him. And he's like, oh, I meant like the cards I delegated you, they're literally not at diamond level. Like it's just like he wasn't saying anything about my skills. He was saying it was the cards. So like I got to diamond and immediately got stomped. I was like, oh, but by that time, I fell in love with the game. So the rest is history.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Jangles, because I did not realize that you guys were partners either, and so I was like, oh wait, did everybody know? Did everybody know this? And I just didn't want to say it, but yeah, so no,
Oh
that
man.
that's super cool, and it makes a lot of sense to me now, also too, because I mean, you guys are two of the most responsive people on Discord and helping out everybody and everything. And like Royal has one of his alt accounts in where I have my alt account in a guild. And so anytime I have an issue, like recently I had that issue where there was like a little bit of a bug, where I was getting like where it was like I'd gone up a level, got this was maybe after last week's update, not this, not yesterday's. It's Wednesday, right? Sorry, time is
Mm,
that circle.
it's
Not
made
yeah,
up.
like this last week's
Yeah.
update where then there was like that bug where if you had gone up to a level, you'd claim your chest, but something didn't register that you had
Yeah.
claimed them, and you got like stuck in that screen. And so like I didn't know what to do, and I had looked through Discord and I didn't see anything. And so I was just like tag Royal real quick, like I'm having this issue. He's like, all right. And within 30 seconds, he's like, we're aware of it. We're working on it. Here's the issue. We're going to get it figured out. And, so it's just, you know, both you guys are so, it's amazing that both you guys are so awesome and so responsive and helpful. And yeah, so I guess that makes a lot of sense. Definitely the Splinterlands power couple, like
Hey,
Django said.
and he has that service industry background too. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Green flags.
How much do you guys compete on CSAT customer service satisfaction
Oh,
scores? Is that
okay.
does that take it
So
to a whole nother level?
Ooh, yeah, there you
I gotta tell you, we have so tech support used to be around 35 people, and we are down to 4 people now. And I got to tell you, the other two people on the team, Nickel Bunker and El Clements, like they kill it with the tickets. Like they are easily our top ticket solvers. So I'd say the contest is more in between them. I still hop in if they need help. I'm still like do the identity verification stuff. And Royal, like he helps out with tickets sometimes too, but they got it handled primarily. They're really efficient, really good. Like support tickets help us to escalate issues to the developers much more quickly, much more efficiently. We can see how widespread things are. We can link things together so that the developers have a good picture of what's going on instead of just like me coming in and saying, hey, someone on Discord said this. Like it's really like documented that way. So yeah, El Clements and 37 or Nickel Bunker do a great job with that. So no, I guess the answer is no. We don't really compete on
Lily,
CSAT.
I gotta say I was really hoping for a more juicy response than that, but
Uh,
you handled that like a champ. Well done.
Yeah,
Shout out
I
to the
want to
team.
hear it's like whoever has the lower score or something has
Cooking
to give
dinner.
the other person a massage or cook dinner. Yeah, like it's definitely like a household
oh
competition.
man. I'll just leave that to your imagination. How about that?
We're giving royal ideas here.
Stop.
Oh man, awesome. Well, Lily, so you just dropped a couple of points I kind of want to hone in on. So with respect to, you and Eagle are kind of the core of the. It sounds like the bridge between customer service and the devs. Does that mean you've kind of got your fingers into QA side of things? Are you is that I kind of want to hear what does your day to day look like? What is your role?
Mhm.
I would imagine that you've got a customer service quote unquote style title, but I can't
Yeah.
imagine that that's all you do. I would imagine you've got your fingers in a whole bunch of pies. So can you start to paint a picture for us?
Sure. Yeah. So first of all, that's very emotionally aware of you. Very observant. Good job. So yes, uh, I do have my fingers in a lot of pies, mainly because I am just a very nosy person. I like to know what's going on. And if you don't tell me, then I will find out one way or another. So we definitely talk to devs quite a bit about all kinds of things, make our cases for what features should be added. We also go back and forth with creative about various designs, and yes, QA is a support responsibility as of the most recent cutbacks. So here we are, like the support team. We not only do tech support and customer support, we do company-wide support for every department. We're there to help people with what they need. We've been working more and more with the creative department. So just earlier this week, we did a walkthrough of the affiliate program overhaul specs. So before they even got to the devs. So long story short, when we go to design a new feature, whatever, generally the creative department will start with like the designs and then they send them over to the devs. And then the first time we look at them is in QA. And, as you can imagine, sometimes that's not the best path. Like it's better to get feedback from testers on the design of things before they hit the devs. That way we're not going back and forth and changing things up. So I guess in a long rambling response to your question is yes, we do look at QA and developer things and other things, classified things, secret things, I'm not going to talk about, but
No, I mean, so again, don't worry. The rambling is what we do on the People's Guild podcast. So feel free to ramble.
oh,
But yeah, no. So that's interesting. So I mean, obviously the cutbacks have been difficult on the team and people having to take on more work and more responsibility. But do you feel that in some way then that it's helped things be a little more efficient, where maybe even on your own curiosity, you're like, well, now I get to be involved and get a say in things a little bit earlier, where I always kind of wanted to be able to kind of get in there earlier?
yeah, I mean, I definitely say things have improved in that respect. So yes.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's always, yeah, it's always kind of helpful to kind of get that, I feel like get that input early,
Mhm.
right? You know,
Yeah.
yeah, it's always the, you know, the sort of sometimes the people who are designing it maybe are not envisioning the issues that the end users might have,
Hmm.
which when you're the person who's in the, you know, on the forefront of dealing with those end users and helping them with their issues might be able to kind of provide that very valuable input early
Yeah.
on, because you might be able to foresee something that someone wouldn't think about, because you're like, hey, I'm in the trenches, I've got to deal
Mhm.
with this every day, and here's why this might be creating an issue. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it definitely helps that every single person in the support department, we're all daily players. We use the product, we love the product, and we want it to be very good. And we've also learned many times over that if a product goes out and it is not user friendly, it falls on the support team to explain to people how to use it, to triage issues, to again go back to devs and creative and be like, this needs to change. So we've learned it's less work to do more work up front.
yeah.
So
Do you have any kind of changes or updates that kind of stick out to you that were like caused a lot of headaches or a lot of like
um
negative user feedback?
let's see. Well, I think you might have just short-circuited my brain here because I'm just like
You can
going
give
down
us a list. You can give us your top three if you want. I mean, you don't have to pick one.
um so I'd say previously, especially when the company was very big and the bull market was underway, we'd have all these releases that didn't go very well. Um, and we'd just get flooded on Discord with people having issues, the game's broken, we need support. And that was just a very I mean, slightly traumatic experience. Like it makes us very try to be very careful when we're testing things. One thing that does stand out is the when we did conflicts and we were testing conflicts, it kept coming up in QA over and over again that it's so hard to find the darn thing. Like, where is conflicts? Like, we have to go to the shop and then scroll down and click something, and then we wanted it in the header, for a long time. And eventually we got a little banner with the button, and like that still wasn't enough. So we'd still get people who are like, where is conflicts, like a
Netflix,
few
yeah.
months in. Yeah, and I remember, like, I think it was Silence was doing a podcast and he couldn't find conflicts. Like it took him a little while to find
Oh
it. So
no.
like that, I was like, okay, like I cannot let this go. I'm gonna go ask very firmly and politely that we put this in because it's a long-term ask and it is time and let's do it. So I finally twisted Nate's arm and got him to put that conflicts in the
I feel
header.
like didn't he go on the town hall after that and talk about how they had a button? Was that the like the I mean I'm gonna say this like famous. It sticks out of my mind where I remember Nate like being super excited about now we have this button for, I don't know if maybe it was for college, maybe it was something else, but he was like so excited. We're like, we've got this button now that shows you this. And it's like, well, yeah, like this is great. Like, why wasn't that there in the first place? You know, I feel like maybe that was a thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of like transposing
Could have
something
been.
else on that, because I feel like there was 1,000 different, you know, things like that in the game where I feel like in some of the more recent updates with the UX, where they have sort of the drop down menus, especially with like play the game, and it's like ranked play, guild brawls, like all those things are now within, you know, like one or two button clicks, where before they used to be like five or six button clicks, which are just kind of
Yes.
really nice quality of life things where like, yes, you can find it and you can kind of get that muscle memory to kind of get there once you've been in the game for a while. But for new players, it's confusing, and for older players who, even though they know where they're going, it is nice to kind of have those quality of life upgrades. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things like that that have happened recently where it's like it's so much easier to just navigate everything in general in the game than it used to be.
It is, and the creative department has done a phenomenal job with that. I believe it's HTT, who's our UX designer, UI designer, who helped to design out that Navbar. And it's just such a smooth experience. I love those red dot notifications. We're hoping to add to that system so that we can, have more red dots when actions are required. Elsewhere, no ETA. But but yeah, I'm very, very proud of the team for all of that. So
You can take some credit
I,
for yourself. So did you guys, is it kind of like you guys pushed for a lot of that as well? Is that where we're seeing a lot of that from?
no. So the nav bar, that was entirely the creative team. Like they had been wanting to redesign it for some time. And I don't know how they stay positive with like they have so much work to do. Like we all have work to do, right? But like creative just gets so much stuff piled on them. Like if it's not a new card art, then like it's a new shop page and it's like the affiliate program and like whatever else we have going on. And they do a lot. So this had been a longer term project that they were working on, and you know, um, after having like so many delays and other high priority projects, they finally got the specs over. We did some testing, we support team gave some feedback about the naming of things, like the orders of things, stuff like that. And then when it was good to go, we shipped it. And I feel like it's been pretty successful. I mean, I do have a little bit of nostalgia for the old icons, especially when I see them on the battles page. I'm just like, oh, the sword.
Oh, the swords.
I remember
Yeah,
that. Like
yeah.
that was in the before times. And guess what? That's going away too. We have battles for V-Next in testing now. So if you like those icons, if you think they're cool, you might want to grab some shots of them now
Screenshot
because
them.
they're
Oh
gonna go
man.
bye-byes. So
we're looking at gold matters for those screenshots
Oh
of
no.
posterity.
So that
I do
yeah.
want to say that you've set a little bit of a dangerous precedent by acknowledging that it was Silence's on-air stream that pushed the reaction to finally make conflicts appear on the menu screen. Hopefully that's not a lesson learned by all streamers. Like if you want to, call attention to something, just do your best
Fumble
to
around with it.
look confused. Yeah.
oh man,
But
that's a good point. So I've created a monster. But if you guys do want me to see something, please drop it in the UX channel. I'm not gonna say whose streams I watch regularly because like I just don't have the time to like watch a particular stream every time it comes on. But I do check in from time to time, and hey, I'm proud of you guys, you streamers out there. Like keep it coming.
likewise, I want to quickly echo your shout out to the, we've talked about it before. I know, I think it had just happened when we had last hosted Rogue. The UX UI update is awesome, and what I think was most awesome about the execution there was it's such a fine balance between striking that tone of this new UX UI is compatible with everything that as existing veteran players, as well as being intuitive and natural to navigate around for brand new players. And I feel I continue to feel like you guys have nailed it. There's one piece that's a little weird to me, but maybe it's because I don't participate in this aspect of the game very much anymore, but land. It does feel a little bit of a disconnect,
Yeah.
being hidden behind the play, but I guess as land continues to get built out, maybe it makes a little bit more sense that way. But yeah, in
Well,
general, awesome update.
yeah, thank you. Good job, UX team, UI team. And land,
Yeah.
I longer term wise, I don't know if it's going to happen, but we have been talking about making land its own drop down because those red dots are going to be really helpful if it's time to harvest a plot, or a plot's finished constructing or something. But we have some other ideas for enhancing the in-game notification system. So I'm not sure whether land notifications will come in that system or a new drop down, but we are thinking about it. So we'll see.
Wonderful. Well, I'm curious, Lily. So it always feels like I think I've pumped the brakes a little bit lately, and lately the last couple of months. But there was a period of time where I would drop suggestions and ideas and screenshots from stuff in game and drop it into the UX channel. And you guys, again, I'm gonna pat you guys on the back. You guys, within the next week's update or the next, the update following, you guys are super consistent in always providing, number one, acknowledgments of said request or suggestion or whatever it is that you drop in the UX channel. But more often than not, you guys are delivering on these requests and offering ideas of, hey, this is how I think the tournament page rework was kind of a prime example, where you had a bunch of different suggestions of, how do we streamline this thing, make it easier to enter into tournaments, to filter for particular tournament types. And it was really impressive to see, number one, the customer service team dropping, this is what we're currently working with, let's solicit some more feedback and kind of mold it and shape it from here. How much do we, I'm sure you guys already have a very pre-existing list of items to tick off, and then here we are continuing to pile on and pile on and pile on. How much do we as a community kind of detract from those pre-existing goals, and how do you guys go about prioritizing stuff?
So I wouldn't say you guys detract at all. I'd say you absolutely enhance things, because you're the customer. Like, without you,
of course you would say that, Lily. What a boss response.
Always on
why
message.
would we
It's
do
amazing.
this? So this is where being very nosy comes in handy. So I pretty much I'm aware of a lot of the projects in the company, and I'm able to kind of slot feature requests in with things when we're already doing work on them. Like, so for the tournaments page, we had to move that page to be next. So what better time to like change it up than when we're already doing the work to fix it, right? To put it into the new client to make the mobile experience better. So we already had a dev working on that. No, actually, I think those requests came in before we had really started on that. So yeah, so I think how do we prioritize? So what I do is I look at a request, I go through the user experience, decide whether it's a viable request to bring to the team. I look and see what the team is doing. Does it make sense to fix this with something else? Like, for example, we have a bunch of outstanding UX requests for battles. Well, does it make sense to do those battle requests now, or does it make sense to do them when we're working to move battles to V next, which is what we're doing now. So I guess, like, looking and seeing what the team is doing, deciding whether it's tactful, productive, useful to slot those requests in with products. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very collaborative process. Sometimes I bring requests to the team and they're just like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, thanks for bringing this to us, but no, it's not viable. Sometimes I bring it to the team and they're like, sure, we can do it, but it's a low priority. Sometimes I bring it and they're like, yeah, we can, that's a 2-minute fix. Like we can just do it. So it's all very collaborative, and I do consider our player base, you, the user, the customer, to be a part of our team. And that being said, I appreciate how seriously people take it. Like, you guys care, and it really shows when you talk on Discord, when you put those requests into the channel. we all want the same thing. We want the game to be good and to succeed. And when you stare at the game all day for work, it's easy to miss things. Like it's easy to not notice like the little text issue or hey, this button, it would be cool if this button did something else. Like it's hard to notice all that stuff. So when you guys bring stuff like that to us, it just helps make the product better. So please never hesitate to put something in the channel. If you have put something in the UX channel and you haven't seen it yet, feel free to ask for an update. I mean, it might be a hard truth. Hey, we decided not to move forward with this, but thanks for the suggestion. Or it might be like, hey, it's coming out next week, you know, one or the other. And we do have some pretty full releases coming out. And there will be some tags in the UX channel for the next two. So got that to look forward to.
Do you want to give us any like updates on what could be coming out in those releases?
Yeah, so actually in the next release, which is happening next Tuesday, so we have so a lot of people with the Rebellion cards, they had been wanting to see the level up progress bars, like
I've
on
heard
the
that.
old cards,
Yeah.
you combine cards all funny, because people do that. I don't know, like it bothers me personally to have like I wait until the next level, but people combine cards,
The badge,
not all the
just
way.
to defend the other side, Lily, the badge drives me crazy. So
Okay.
I that's
Oh,
my
I
logic.
see.
I don't like going into my
Okay.
collection and seeing like scattered cards. I'd rather see everything combined. So
Do you hit the combine all button like
yeah,
to do that, or do you go in? Oh man, see the
combine
combine
all.
all
I'm
button,
way too lazy.
it's like the danger button in our household. Like if the kids are and they learned early, you do not touch that combine all button. You'll
It's
be
like
in trouble.
the first thing we taught our kids: don't touch the stove, don't touch the combine all button.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, it's called a late term adoption. If you touch that button. So yes, thank you for that perspective. I definitely acknowledge it as a player request, but I guess I never really understood why people would do that. So thank you. That's helpful. You guys aren't all weird. You have reasons. So that's nice. But but anyway, so we're gonna be coming
We're
out
all
with
weird,
some,
Lily. Let me just
yeah,
clarify. I think we're all weird.
yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. So this next release, you're gonna see those partial bars on the Rebellion cards coming out. So you'll be able to, see when they're close to being leveled up. So that's pretty cool, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like every week you guys we occasionally hear the community sentiment that, oh, it doesn't feel like anything's happening, everything's moving slowly. That seems to have dissipated somewhat of late. But when you're looking back at the grand scheme of what you guys have accomplished in 2024, you guys have ticked a lot of boxes. Once you guys get the battles page and the team creation page over to VNext, it's going to look like a completely different game when you're looking at what Splinterlands was a year ago. So while you guys are, maybe it's bite-sized chunks at a time, you guys have moved an absolute shit ton of weight over the course of the last, we're in November, so the last 10 full months of this total revamp of stuff. So yeah, that's just one more piece that brings the game to the next level. Good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And it's especially amazing given the company's situation. Like it's no secret we've had, some cutbacks and stuff, some layoffs. So we have fewer people doing more work, and the people who are left, not that the people who are left are very passionate, very talented, and that's not to say the people who left were not that. Like we're just all working hard because we truly believe in Splinterlands. I think this game could really be like the top mobile game, and I'm here for it. It's been the ride of my life, and I fully intend to take it as far as they'll let me. So
Lily, you have come a long way from looking at Royal like he was showing you worms that he
I
dug up from
know.
outside.
Yeah.
Did
Awesome.
did you have any like gaming experience, before Splinterlands, like growing up, or were you into to gaming or mobile games, or any sort of old school kind of like SNES, NES type of situation, or kind of what's your gaming background coming into this?
Oh man. So let's see. I started playing computer games when I was 3 years old. My
Wow.
parents were, college students when they had me and my older brother, so they had these big old computers at home. I remember typing in MS-DOS commands to like pull up my games, my Secret Agent Sam and Jazz Jackrabbit and you know, what's the other one? Max, Sam and Max. Like those were some fun games. So gaming has always been a pretty big part of my life. Growing up, with four brothers, we had a Sega Genesis, PlayStation, and it really, taught me about grinding because like we would just play when you have a constant stream of energy. Like we would rent games from the Blockbuster or whatever and just run through it in a weekend. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we got the game on Friday. It's got to go back on
It's
Monday
got to
because
go back. It's got
we
to go
didn't
back
do
on
video games
Sunday. Yep.
during the week. So it's like we just have a constant stream of energy, like taking shifts and just like beating these games one
Yeah.
after another. Like it was just that's just what we did. And before I got into Splinterlands, I was really big into DDR, like on the keyboard. I really like Beat Saber. I really like any kind of dancing movement games, and it's because of the patterns. I love feeling intuitive, like I can just because eventually like you don't even think about it. You just do
You
the
get into that
movements
flow
and
kind
like
of
it's
state.
just
Yeah.
yeah, it's so satisfying. And I find the same thing with Splinterlands. Like once you get into the right headspace, it's like it's tickling the same parts of my brain. You almost feel a little bit psychic, like knowing what your opponent's gonna play, knowing how to counter it, like just yeah, it's a great feeling. So for me, Splinterlands definitely it checks the box of having really good immersive story. It's fun to play, it's challenging to play. Every battle's different. I like playing wild because I like using all of my old cards. I miss them. I like to exercise them.
Yeah.
Sometimes, even if I'm loose, I'm just like, Chancius, like, you haven't stretched your legs in a while. Like, let's see what's going on. And then I also really like playing modern because I know there's a human behind there. And I like winning and like knowing that they saw me win. It's like, yeah, that's right. You saw that team. But sometimes it's tough when I have an embarrassing loss and I'm like, oh man, a human saw that.
Lily,
So,
how much do you engage in, especially in modern? How much do you engage in the post match shit talk? Do you pepper anybody with some victorious gifts or some salty language, one way or the
not
other?
real well, on occasion, if I fight against a fellow employee, or someone I know well, then yeah, I'll send a message and be like, hey, good job, or a crying face emoji. Like lately, I've actually hit Nate in battles in modern, and he's always stomping me with these max level cards, and I'm just like, get out of here. Not cool. But then I'm like, I can't be mad at you, Nate. You're awesome, but still, that really hurt.
What all-time favorite Splinterlands card then? Like,
Oh my
what is it?
gosh. Okay, so it's got to be Undead Rex because I'm a
Nice.
big fan of dinosaurs. Like most millennials, I saw Jurassic Park when I was much too young and had nightmares about it for years. But it's funny because now I love dinosaurs, so it all worked out, right? But Undead Rex, like when I first saw that card, I had to have it. I saw the gold foils, had to have those too. And when I learned about land and started getting into land, I just had this vision of undead Rexes doing research on land. And I just had to make it happen. And I did. So now I have undead Rexes. I made a meme of it. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you.
Oh yeah,
But
send it to us to put in the Pete D article for this. That'd be awesome.
I will. So I have my undead Rexes. They're all in top hats with like their little arms. In one hand is the scroll and the other's the pen, and they can't reach to like right. So they're just roaring but you know what? They're on a research plot. You got to do the work, guys. Like figure it out. I don't know what to tell you. Like that's just where you are. So yeah, undead Rex. I love the trample, the stun, and I like the scary face. So much better than
Awesome
Rexy,
choice.
you know? Yeah.
Awesome choice.
That is a
Bonus
great
points
choice.
that it's a death card.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, death all the way.
Yes. You're in good company here.
It comes for us all, but we don't have to talk about it.
Let's talk about I think it was actually Eagle who posted a screenshot of the battles page on VNext. You just alluded to it a couple minutes ago. Is that are we going to see that this year? Is that coming before? Are you at liberty to speak on that?
We're doing our best. I'm not sure if my clearance is high enough to say. And also, we kind of need what's it called? A company PTSD therapist, because we've had some issues with release dates in the past, people saying things and they don't happen. So now we're all very skittish around saying release dates, but I will tell you, it is in testing and it is very good. Antioch, one of our developers, is the primary person on that. Things are looking great. I don't want to jinx it, so maybe is the answer.
It'll be here when it gets here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a solid maybe. Feeling really
good,
very positive about that.
I feel like we might be at the heart of some of those issues with people promising things that have never come to fruition and weren't actually going to happen.
Yeah. No comment.
Yeah, that's an acknowledgement of yes, we've had that effect. I feel like land surfing was maybe the big thing that shouldn't have been talked about and got brought up.
Yeah, that was supposed to be internal only, for the record. But here we are. I mean, it's hard. Like, I get it. When you're on here on things and people are talking to you, it can be easy to let things slide out. So I don't know. It is what it is. But better to have loved than lost, right, guys? Huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So one thing I kind of want to ask. I feel like I may be jumping back a little bit, but like, so do you have something that stuck out at you as like the craziest request anyone's ever had for something, for either it's like UX UI thing or just something that really stuck out, would be like, that doesn't make any sense or anything that's really, and I always hate when people, because I deal with I do a lot of, like, I'm intellectual property attorney. I do a lot of patents, and like people always kind of ask me like, what's the craziest idea someone has ever asked you to like kind of patent for them? And so I know this can be like a weird, hard question to kind of answer, like draw back on. But is there anything that kind of like sticks in your mind where someone was like, someone asked you to like something and you're like, no, that wouldn't make any sense at all?
I mean, I feel like I'm just going to cop out of this question because I don't want to make anyone feel bad. And I want to encourage
I was just going to say, feel free to name names too.
Nah, I want you guys
No, speaking hypotheticals, and you don't have to get specific,
but they're going to know, and then they'll never talk to me again.
No one listens to this. No one listens to this.
Oh, come on. You guys sell yourselves short. I see those views on the YouTube, so no, nothing at all sticking out.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm glad you took it back a little bit, because I did have a question earlier. It slipped my mind as we kind of progressed through the conversation, but Hep, you were asking about particular rollouts that were memorable in that they caused more problems than was anticipated and possibly recognized in test. Let's look at the other side of that. Or is there a particular update or piece of production that was rolled out that uh seemed to quiet a lot of feedback or comments or tickets more than others?
Let's see. Well, it's so hard to point to a particular one because I feel like we try and slot in like little things that help people out. So I don't know. I'm kind of drawing a blank here, to be honest with you.
Well, let's how about we ask this question in a little bit of a different fashion. If we're looking at, overall ticket volume from 2 years ago versus this time last year versus today, obviously our player base is significantly less at this point in time. But if we're, extrapolating out the data and looking, assuming we had this number of players over the last couple of years, I don't know if I'm sure you guys have a metric like tickets per active player or something like that. How are we tracking? Are we seeing, obviously we want that trending as close to zero as possible. What kind of progress have we seen over the course of the last year, 2 years?
We've actually seen great progress in all of that. And I completely forgot to mention this. So one of the other things that I do for the company is I'm the primary writer of our Knowledge Center articles. If you click that little question mark and go to the support site, you can type in pretty much any word and it will bring you up an article. And please test me on this. If you guys, think of a word that's relevant and type it into the site. If you don't find anything, submit a support ticket because we want people to be able to find things. So one of the rationale behind going so heavily into the Knowledge Center is that we'd have people asking like just basic questions about things like, how do I open a pack? Like, how do I buy a pack? How do I combine cards? How do I burn cards? Like, what's in a pack? Like all this stuff. And rather than having to type out an entire response every time, we just put it into an article. One of the things that I'm most proud of is I wrote all of the ability articles for the game. That whole long list of abilities that we have. I wrote articles for each and every ability.
You've been busy lately in the last few months then, huh?
Well, I actually wrote those like a year or two ago. And, we gradually update them, but I was actually learning the game at the time and I'd just be like, oh my gosh, like what does this do? Where are we compiling, the information? And we had kind of random articles with like some info here and there. And I was like, you know what? I can't handle this. Like we really needed an article for every single ability so that people can look and explore things. So instead of high ticket volume, we're seeing high support article volume. Like we get around 500 views a day of people, reading our guides, looking for info. One of the top topics that people used to, and they used to, but they still do, submit support tickets about is how does this game mechanic work? Like why, most notably recently, is the execute blast interaction. Like why is this like this? It doesn't seem, well, this is why it's still under review, blah, 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 stuff like that. So yeah, I think we really made a good choice to lean into the support articles because now instead of people submitting tickets for like all of these little questions, they're just looking at the support articles and we have the data to back that up. So pretty proud of the team. I do have to say, with everything else going on, I've fallen slightly behind. Like I have a whole list of updates that need to happen. Screenshots with the new Navbar, like we have a ton of articles that need to be updated. So yeah, I mean it's work. It is what it is.
No, that's a great shout out because I remember first playing the game and kind of checking out the help page and finding it not that helpful when I first started playing, which is a long time ago. And then I remember when we had Royal on and we're talking with him, and he was telling us about like, oh no, like we've done all this stuff, updates to the help page. And I was like, oh, I'll go check it out again. And after that, we had him on. I started looking. I was like, oh, wow, it is so much more helpful. And even now, I will use it and like, or just go check it out like randomly to kind of see what's there. And it is I mean, to say night and day is like underwhelming to the difference I feel like between when I started to play and what it is now. I mean, it's a universe of difference. So, that's definitely a great shout out, and that's awesome for that you guys have spent so much time and you've spent so much time to put that together because it is so helpful. And like I feel like I mean, I even being such a long time player, I know within the last like month or so, I've definitely looked at the help page to look at something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember going to like check it out. And so, yeah, it's like if you have issues, I know that's like a great place to go look because I feel like so much of that stuff is there and it's all right there and it's like really broken down to basic steps. So, um, especially with like yeah, a lot of the stuff with the different transferring assets and things like that were
Yes.
things where you had to be like before you had to be like luckily like I feel like I was in like a really good guild like the Phoenix Risen guild where like a lot of people were older players and like knew how to do stuff because I'd be like what is this like how do I do this what is this and people would like explain it to me or people would say here's a good video of a YouTube video of someone like Bulldog or somebody explaining how this works or how to like transfer these assets. Whereas now it's all like a very, very simple walkthrough on that help page, which is it's so awesome. It's so nice to have.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we work really hard on that. We have a whole section on tech support guides. If you encounter any problems whatsoever, just try the search section. Guilds and tournaments, gameplay and rewards, and a whole section on land, which that's going to be one of my projects coming up is updating and writing new articles for land phase 1.75. So good
So are
time.
you like, you know, talking to Manser at all, like throughout his whole process of developing this to like get that worked out while he's building it, or is it something where he's gonna build it out and then like you got to go through and learn it all, or is it like it's like a kind of a
Exactly.
collaborative thing right away, or
No, it's not collaborative. Well, actually, we do chat sometimes. We have a weekly land meeting that I go to, but he knows what he's doing. Like he's gonna build a really solid product. Like I've been keeping up to date, with the updates, but I'm very excited that he is working on land. I've tested other features that he has built out. And one of the things that I love about his work is the fact that he doesn't pass his stuff to QA until he feels like it's ready for release. And by that, like he's already tested it, he's given it a good go around. Like he thinks that it's great. So like it makes my job as a tester much easier. And when I do testing, that is when I write the documentation and the guides and like put all kinds of things together to because our land, it's not the most intuitive experience. So sometimes people just need a little help. But hopefully, things are improving in that regard. So I really hope that when I see it and go through it and evaluate what's happening, I hope that I don't have to write a ton of articles about how to use the product. Fingers crossed. I think it'll be great. Feeling good, feeling very positive. So,
and that's going to be released when did you say?
oh, I have no idea.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, no dates,
Nice.
above my security level. I can't share speculation whatsoever.
What kind of adoption have you guys seen with it? And this is something that I haven't necessarily really leaned into using a whole lot. Maybe I should just try it out. But the in-game chat with Splinterlands support, I feel like that's such a
Did want to
big
ask about that
new
too.
piece
Mhm.
for in particular for new players. But Lily, I know I've posted this a number of times. I know I've seen it subsequently posted a number of times from some other folks that frequent the UX channel. But something like, does reach apply in opportunity rule sets? Does sneak work in opportunity rule sets? I just can never remember. The game is already complex enough. Would I be able to go to the Splinterlands in-game chat bot and find the answer? That's the smaller question, but the bigger question is what kind of uptake and adoption have you guys seen on the in-game chat?
So we've definitely seen a lot of people using it. Our engagement numbers have gone up since it was introduced. Because especially with the new Navbar, the little question mark there, it's not always the most obvious thing to click on. But what we see is that people use the chat bot and it recommends an article to them, and then usually that takes care of it. But if they need a human to talk to them, then if one of us isn't online, we email them later. And then for your other question, long story short, yes. Although I'll have to check the tags on the article, but we do have a rules of precedence article with a nice little chart on it that shows all the overrides. Al Clements is our support person who makes all of our charts. So yes, but I'm not sure about that specific question, the way it's worded. But if you type in reach,
No one knows. We'll never know whether it
yeah.
applies. You'll
Is there
never know.
a way to
Just assume
find
it
out? I
does or
don't know.
doesn't. It just don't. Yeah.
But
I've
yeah,
actually
if
never noticed this.
digital.
Does the in-game chat, is it accessible during the team creation stage?
I think it's there, yeah, but I mean, who wants to use it then? I mean, I guess you would.
I feel like I've only ever randomly clicked on it, and it's
Yeah,
probably then I'm like, oh no, what is
there's
this
a
doing here? Get it
little.
out of here. Go away.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is accessible during Team Create. Yes. So
So that is like, that's just like an AI chat, right? That's not like,
yeah, the
yeah,
first part is, I mean,
yeah.
if you say, I want to talk to a human, or
You
you,
scream agent at it or human, or
yeah,
it'll,
then like
it'll pass it to
eventually,
you.
yeah, yep, sooner or later. And there are only four of us, so we can't be on 24/7, but we get emails. So we'll follow up with you eventually, usually within 24 hours. Pretty good about that. Our turnaround times are exceptional. Our CSATs are exceptional. I don't know if you guys have experienced customer support elsewhere in general, but I feel very confident in saying that Splinterlands offers top tier customer support. So, and we plan to continue to do so.
Yeah, no, you guys definitely do. And I remember we talked about this with Royal before, and he was telling us the kind of like the some of the metrics that he was seeing on it, and they were just, in the what was the high 80s or high 90s? I think it was like high 90s even, he said,
Yeah.
right? Like the guys were like high 90s in that, and it's just,
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
phenomenal. I mean, yeah, anytime I've ever had an issue, it's always been something with sort of like a third part. Like anytime the only actually was like one or two times I had a real issue, not even a real issue, they'll get the result, but it was, with like with the bridge, and yeah, Spilllands was great with helping me, and it, it ultimately wasn't a problem. So yeah, I think my experience has always been awesome, even though I feel like I haven't used it that much, as maybe other people would, but yeah. So I think you guys have done a great job.
Well, thanks. And
Yeah.
definitely, if you guys listening out there ever need help, don't hesitate. We're very nice and we want to help you. We want to hear from you and we want to know how to make the experience better. So do your part.
Yeah.
I want to focus on the, it's so cool to see the team collaboration. Everybody seems to be helping one another, and it comes across in a variety of different ways. And the area that I want to focus on is some of the social media challenges recently have been support article writing. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think most recently a land focus, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Yeah.
how has helpful has that been for you guys? And is this the sort of thing where you guys are just copy pasting into the support.splinterlands pages? What does that process look like, and do we expect that sort of contest to continue?
So Royal would be the better person to ask about this, but I'll take a swing at it, I guess. Yes, we like it. It's definitely helpful. We do want to continue it. We really appreciate our community taking the time to help us generate this content, put on the page. Like, it's all very important stuff that people search for. And often we just find ourselves like, there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many support people. So it's really nice to have help with that. As far as review and publishing, I'm not sure exactly what the status is on that. But I mean, I'd expect for, minor edits to happen, because we do have a certain style that we like to keep consistent across all of our articles. So yeah, so keep an eye on those challenges and do them. It's good for everyone, good for the company, good for the community, and we appreciate any engagement with that. So
Royal would be proud. Well done.
I'm sure
you
I
connected on that swing.
I'll hear about it.
Okay, so Lily, let's start looking ahead. So new player experience has been the calling card of 2024. New player experience is a massive umbrella of stuff, and it's super ambiguous. There's no real place to put your finger on and say, oh, that is definitively new player experience. At the same time, like we alluded to earlier, there's been lots and lots of boxes ticked along the way. As far as stuff that is upcoming and maybe things that you guys haven't started working on yet, is there something that you are in particular looking forward to seeing in production and on the game, and for us, the player base, to experience what you are so excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. I am very excited about the contextual tooltips. So I think these have been talked about in the town hall maybe, but I'll kind of give a refresher. So the idea is that some people, myself included, I do not like tutorials. Like, I just want to play the game. Do not talk to me about learning how to play the game. I want to figure it out myself. Like, some percentage of the population, no matter how nice you make a tutorial, they're never going to watch it. They're just going to skip it. So we need to have some sort of system in place to help these people learn to play Splinterlands. So Splinterlands itself is not a difficult game to grasp, but the problem is that we don't really explain the rules anywhere. Like, when I first started playing the game, I completely ignored the abilities. I was just like, those are just little circles. They don't mean anything. Like, I'm just going to focus on attack types and whatever. And then when I came across the sandworm, because I'm a huge Dune fan, so of
Oh
course
boy,
I
that's a
was like, the
conversation we're gonna have.
sandworm, it just resounded in my heart, and I was like, Muad'Dib, it's on. And it had the sneak ability, and I was like, whoa, this card is different. This card is attacking the last unit on the team, and it's got this little icon. So like, that was the connection that I needed to start understanding abilities. And the next abilities that I learned were opportunity. And I was like, okay, opportunity is just sneak for the lowest help card. Snipe. For the longest time, I thought snipe was just sneak for the second position. But then I was like, it didn't behave that way in a battle. And I read the description and I was like, oh, it's for the non-attack or magic ranged unit not in first position. Wow. So giving people a little bit of help, like making those mental connections via these little tooltips that pop up on screen when you're in battle. So say you're going through and, as a new player, working on building your first team, right? So like you put a ranged unit in the first position because why not? Like you don't know how to play the game, right? So we'll have a little contextual tooltip that pops up and says, are you sure you want to put that card there? Ranged units can't attack from that position. Oh, okay. So they don't have to go through a loss and like the smacking down, the demoralization of losing. Like we want to set people up to succeed, and people can't succeed if they don't know the rules. So like just giving them that little helping hand saying, "Oh, you put a melee unit in the second position, it can't attack from there. Try looking for a unit with reach because it can attack from there." Not verbatim. Like these, Joey actually wrote the contextual tooltips. I'm butchering them. They're much more succinct and clear. So yeah,
I
there's
hope they're a bit snarky and sarcastic, knowing Joey.
no, you can't put it there, dummy. No, they're not like that. Because we want people to feel good and we want people to feel smart when they play the game. Like you want positive brain chemicals, right? You want that dopamine hit when people are playing. They're like, "Oh, I played this for the first time and I get it. Like melee, magic, range, the abilities mean something. They do things." And it's because sometimes we just need that little bit of help. And the contextual tooltips, they're not up in your face. Like you can turn them off if you want. You can see them as often as you want. There's going to be a settings page where you can see which ones you've seen. And yeah, so I think that's going to be really helpful for the tutorial resistant players and players in general. And when they come out, even if you're a veteran player, I'd encourage you to just give them a try. Like, please give us feedback as a veteran player about how well these work. And who knows, you might just learn something too.
Yeah. I know. I remember, like, I had like some type of I would always have kind of weird lineups, and we used to do, and we haven't done in a while, sort of our sort of battle royales for the People's Guild. We'd stream it on YouTube, get a bunch of people on, and just do challenge matches. And some other people would be like, "Why are you putting your range guys like so up close? Like you should maybe have it back a little bit further." And I'm like, "Well, I really don't care that much about this card, so like I don't care if it dies, but I'd rather the card behind it stay alive a little bit longer." But it was interesting to hear people kind of critique card positioning, even though, I'd played the game a ton and felt like I knew what I was doing. And so I kind of rethink it, like, oh, maybe I should try to rework that a little bit, And I mean, even back in like forever ago, Django's, I remember conversations that we used to have were positioning of Dr. Blight. Like, do you have him all the way in the back? Do you move him up a little bit forward? I still traditionally will play him almost in the back spot or in maybe in the second to last spot. But you'll look at different if you look at like Archmage, things like that, they'll have him like way more forward because he'll get health and he'll stay alive longer. So it's kind of interesting where like you think like maybe even after you play the game for a while, you think maybe you should put a card somewhere where maybe you actually shouldn't play it there. And I don't know, those sort of nuances, I think, are a good discussion for us to be having about cards, even players who've been at this for a while and think they know what they're doing, right? So I think that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so
Yeah.
excited to see it go live. No ETA.
No ETA. All right. We won't hold you to it. But I gotta ask, you mentioned Dune. I'm a huge Dune fan. So I gotta know tell me when and where did your love for Dune start? Is it the recent movies? Or are we going back to like the David Lynch movie days, the books? What do we got going on?
So we're going back all the way to the books about 10 years ago. So I've always been a big sci-fi fantasy fan. I read a ton of books just in general. And I had always heard about Dune, and I think I had tried to watch the movie when I was a teenager, but I was like, what is this? Like, this Doesn't make any sense. I don't like it.
How dare you?
So then one day I was at the local library and they had Dune on audiobook, and I listened to it and was like, holy goodness. Like it just sucked me in. Um, and ever since then, like I've read a good chunk of the series. I haven't gotten through the prequels, all the stuff about the houses. I haven't gotten
Yep.
through those, but I've gotten pretty much through all of the ones after. They kind of get a little weird,
They
like with
get weird after
Chapter
like the
House,
third one.
Dune.
Like, yeah, once you get to
Yeah,
like God Emperor and Chapter House,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
God
yeah,
Emperor, Yeah,
you're like,
so so it's so funny. So I'll share some uh some personal alpha, as you guys like to call it. So I actually got a Dune inspired tattoo not too long ago, and I'll show you. So the thing is, I got it's a hawk tattoo, or a hawk
yep.
too, if you will. That's like the vernacular for those. So I got this hawk tattoo with the planets Dune and the two moons,
Okay.
because the hawk is the on the
House
Atreides
Atreides.
crest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was, showing, friends, family, social media, sending out pictures. And I get ready to share it with my coworkers, and I'm just like, I can't do this because everyone's going to make fun of me and say it's an eagle, because
Oh,
what
because I.
eagle? So I didn't want people to make fun of me and think that I got an eagle tattooed on me. But anyway, here it is. You don't know if you can see
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's
But
awesome.
yeah, it's all blurry.
There it
But
is. Oh yeah. Nice. Yeah.
there's my hawk, and Dune's there, two moons, like
That's
the
awesome.
messages about mental strength, self-awareness, self-actualization, like all of that stuff has gotten me through a lot of real hard times in life, like that litany against fear, like that's
Yep.
one of my things.
Yep.
Um, and I
Been
just
saying that since I was like 8 years old.
hey. Oh, it's not too young, huh?
Yeah.
Might be
Yeah.
time for some indoctrination, actually.
Yeah. My dad is has always been a big sci-fi fan. Watched the Star Wars movies very early on and watched the original David Lynch Dune movie very early on. I feel like when I was a kid growing up, it was one of those things that was always on the Sci-Fi Channel a
Mhm.
lot, and so I would always like watch. Like I feel like I've watched that movie. I like over 100 times. Like I definitely have seen the David. Like it's just like It's one of those things where I will watch a couple times a year because I love it. And then in eighth grade, I had an English teacher who had us read the book, the Dune book. Um, so yeah, so like yeah, definitely like and like that. It was I've been through that. Like yeah, definitely got you through times and in the litany of fear, yeah, things where I do like I like to surf and I like to snowboard and ski and stuff like that. I grew up doing that sort of things, and I've been in like big, heavy like situations where, that is what I'm saying in my head as like I'm doing certain stuff, and it's nice to have like that sort of mantra kind of thing. I think it works out really well, but I just like I love the story. I love because also my dad was also like a fantasy fan and also like a big so like I read tons of fantasy books growing up. Like obviously started with like Chronicles of Narnia and then like reading Lord of the Rings very early age and to
Yeah.
read Dune and to experience Dune where it's kind of that melding of the sci-fi and the fantasy aspects where it's like the political intrigue, the houses, but on like this like distant world and like planet where there's all this also sci-fi stuff. So yeah, it's like people, you know, I've talked to people who are like, oh, Dune, like it's not that big of a deal, but like if you look at the time when it was actually written, it's like how it predates so much all this other stuff. Like if there is no Game of Thrones without Dune. Like
Yeah, for
100%.
sure.
It is not. That does not exist without Dune, you know? And so yeah, so like I have like a huge shelf on my wall of it up in my office in my house where it's just like I probably have like I have like 30 of the Dune books. I've probably read like 50, like 35, 50, like to like 50. I guess I forget how many there is, but like I've read all the first series, the prequels, like all this other stuff that like his son has done.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah,
they're good. Some of them are not great. Like the later books that the original author did get kind of weird.
yeah.
The prequel stuff that the son has done is interesting. It's kind of interesting to build the world out, but yeah, I really like it. I just kind of one of those things where I also grew up on, and so like I really appreciate all that stuff. So I think it's awesome, and it's funny. Like so, I've always one of the things I've always wanted to do for Halloween is to like dress up as like a Fremen from Dune,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so like this year I was like I'm gonna do it because I can actually get like a costume from because before you couldn't do it. You couldn't get a costume because like no one had these costumes. So like from now like Spirit Halloween like random whatever had like the Dune Fremen costume. So I
Oh,
got one of
man.
those. Yeah, and so like I had to like yeah, so that's what I did for Halloween this year. So yeah, that's cool. So big
That is
Dune fan, so great to hear that
awesome.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to have a Dune episode sometime.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, we would see. I want more Dune inspired cards in the game.
I
That's what we got to
know.
work towards. We got to
I
talk to
asked
Joey about that.
Joey
Yeah.
for I just want a sandworm rider. Like I just want someone, I don't care who it is, someone to just ride a sandworm and maybe like when it's next to the sandworm, maybe it's like a Rick Palace type thing, you know?
There we
Like
go.
it would be nice, but he was just like, "Oh, that sounds nice. Okay." Very polite, but not sure if he's gonna do it. This
All
was a
right.
while ago too. He may not even remember.
We'll put next time we talk to him, we'll push him to that. So there we
Yeah.
go. Now that we've got your backing, I feel like we can
Mhm.
maybe make this happen. Let's
Yeah, absolutely.
and anybody else out there listening, anybody else in the community is a big Dune fan,
Hmm.
everybody message Joey, tell him, you know what? We want a Dune card.
Yes, please. Get a Reverend Mother in there too. Oh
There,
man, can
yeah.
you imagine the carnage? Just control the other cards and make them attack themselves. Like,
Yeah, there you go. Like a weirding kind of voice power on a card. Yeah,
yeah,
there we go. All
exactly.
right, there we go. Let's
Yeah,
do
that's
it.
the good stuff. The
There we go.
voice. Trademark.
I'm glad you brought up the Rick and Palace synergy idea there. Uh,
Mhm.
that's obviously it's just come into the game as of yesterday, a couple of days ago.
Yep.
I gotta
We've
get
got the
that card,
auction
by the way.
card. Say what?
Yes,
I gotta get that
Halloween.
card. I haven't gotten it yet. I gotta get that card. I was just looking at it today.
The auction card?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Did
a
you get
good
it?
one.
Did you get it yet? I haven't gotten it yet, so I gotta get it.
Well, so Heloise is bidding. So I was actually watching the bidding earlier. We were in a meeting and I was like, guys, I gotta look at this. Pulled up the screen, saw some bids. It's like, whoa, this is so great. So the current highest bid is like 1 million DEC. So that's for the first copy. So I'm pretty excited about this card.
That's awesome.
It was a lot of fun to test. It actually went through many iterations. We were testing this card for weeks, just trying to get it to be really, really exciting. Some of the iterations had so it currently has the soul siphon ability. The first iteration of that ability was when she died, she would kill a member on your team, come back to life with that member's health, and she also had the scavenge ability. So she'd like get a little tasty meal out of it too. But we felt like that was too harsh on your own team because then she was just getting killed so easily. So we tried, giving her some more sustain, coming back with void armor, coming back, maybe not killing the card, but having it come back with 1 health and weary. And we just thought, it's just not right. And like we were kind of getting the timeline was advancing. It was time to move things along. And Royal and I came into the meeting one day talking to Call Me Tim and Melon Man, and we are just like, yeah, like this card is cool, but it doesn't make me want to spend my kid's college fund on it. So so the next day, much to, our chagrin, we came in and Call Me Tim slaps this card down on the virtual table. And it just like blew my mind. Like the soul siphon ability was reworked, added this new ability, Spite. So when you kill her, she hits you back, just out of spite. I think that's super cool. And that 8 health, we played with her with like dual attack, and it was like, meh. But no, the 8 health. So he really pushed this card up to 11. And now we're trying to figure out how to buy a copy as a family,
And
And
now the kids are going to college on YouTube.
yeah, right. Well, hopefully it'll be
Khan
free by the
Academy is
time
a
they're
great
ready. Anyways, and colleges, well, that's a whole other thing. We don't have to talk about it. I mean, I went to college. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, but that's a whole other thing. But anyway, so it was kind of fun testing the auction itself as well. And I will not be sharing my top bid because Joey, when we were testing the auction, he comes and like he asks me, really casually, "Hey, what's your top bid?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to tell you what it was, but let's say it was $600." It's like my top bid $600. He's like, "Oh, okay." And then we're like testing. I'm like, talk about other stuff, and then I'm like, "Oh yeah, Joey, hey, what's your top bid?" And he just like completely deadpan. He's just like $601. I'm just like, Joey, no.
Got your Price is Right style there.
Yeah, right. He was just like, just about. I was like, why? So, so anyway, what's your top bid?
I it's that last ability where I would never use it because I really am kind of like sticking to I'm playing kind of justing like the gold level, especially with like brawls and just kind of where I'm decided I'm not going to push my cards any more past that level. And so without having that ability at that level, like is it like it's one of those things where I I did get a Lux Vega because and now I use it because I was like, oh, we might get to a point where we were in the situation we're in now, where like a max level summoner is very advantageous to have. But also just that summoner was I felt that summoner at the time was so great, especially that was before the Modern Wild format, and that summoner with certain decks, it really I loved it. It did wonders for me. But so and I did spend some money on that, but still, even I think I only spent like I think I got that card for like $500-600. Um, would I spend that much on at this point on Heloise without that having that extra like knowing I'm never gonna really use that full ability? I don't know if I would.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
you know what
Totally.
I mean? So that's
Yeah,
to me it was like
absolutely.
I would love it if it had that full set of abilities at the gold level, and then at the max level it kind of maybe got something else, or it just kind of had that like, and I know that might be like too OP to use in like gold level brawls, like I get that. I would think about dropping some money on it, but without that extra ability, to me the cost to get the card is just would be a mediocre card for what I would use it at, so
That's fair. Totally
yeah.
understandable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
don't know.
keep those
Jangles, are
things
you
low,
are you gonna
guys.
do it? Are you gonna be
Uh,
able to make the leaderboard without it?
I'm
We'll
so
see.
torn, man. I am so torn. I've played a little bit yesterday, a little bit today. I have yet to come across either Rick Loneman or what's the other card? The Rune.
Rune Arcanist.
Yes.
Arcanist? Yes.
Yeah. I have yet to come across either of those cards. So I don't know if that's the market saying they're a bit underwhelming, or we are stacking for a chance to put some bids in on Heloise, or waiting for it's really tough to say. So I don't. I'm probably going to make the call in the next couple of weeks if I'm going to start setting aside some spare change to make a run at one of these Heloise. I don't really care about what number mint I get. I'm definitely not in a position to go after like gold foil or anything, but I do like the collectability perspective. The very limited run is very, very cool.
Mhm.
So we will see. I don't know. I'm definitely not going to go for $1,000.
Yeah, for sure.
That's yeah. I'm not going to break the bank to get one of these. But if I could snag one for around 500-600 bucks, I think I could probably convince myself to get there. Uh, but then we still have two batches of promo card
Promo
pairs to
cards
go,
coming in.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and
I
all of a
think I'm gonna go
sudden,
in for I really like these two promo cards. I think I'm gonna go in for I don't know if I'll go all the way to like a level like a gold level Rick Loneman. Maybe just I need to look at the stats again. I was looking at it a little bit today. I don't recall. I'll probably definitely get to um at least a silver for both those promo cards because I really like those promo cards. Here we go.
Mhm.
What's the
yeah. So he gets exposed. Expose is such a good ability.
It
It
is
is.
good.
I love that one, you know. We had
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of
that's why
fun
Cryptic has
this
been
card.
my favorite of the bunch.
Hey, I'm a big cryptic enjoyer as well. Feel like it's just a solid card, and I like that it's always a true choice for me between using expose and poison or retaliate and enfeeble. It's like, ooh, which one are we going for? It's never just a default.
Yeah, that's
The
interesting because I feel like we all I would love to see the data actually on what tactic selections the community is making because for me in my mind I play Cryptic specifically for the expose 99.9% of the time. Like there
Yeah,
there are
same.
times where I feel like maybe the retaliate would be a good choice, but poison and expose feels like it's always a good choice.
Yeah,
Uh
fair enough. It is.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
for sure. Yeah, and
What's the
expose is great on this card, especially if you pair him with Max EMP with that armored strike, then you get free attacks with Rick
All
Loneman
right.
instead of just the two. So I
Good
will be
thinking.
picking up. So I really like the gamble of buying from the shop. I do gold foil phrase, gold foil brawls. So I'm gonna buy a couple from the shop and gamble and hope I pull a gold foil. If not, that's life, and I'll pick up my remaining copies on the secondary market. So
Nice.
that's my plan. But I mean, Rick, seriously, he's tall, handsome, good with animals, dexterous, and he's working tirelessly to overthrow a tyrannical government. So what else do you need in a man, really?
Seriously,
Like,
especially right now.
yeah, total package. So definitely,
I
yeah,
mean, and also just like I love having Joey on and talking to him and hearing kind of like his personal Rick Loneman's backstory. I feel like that's a card I've got to get. Like I just
yes.
like I have emotional attachment sort of to that card just from hearing it being kind of like his old like the dungeon crawler game character and
Mhm.
I just yeah so like I really like the idea of it and so I think yeah, I think I'm set. I'm definitely going to pick up some of that card.
That's a great card. And I'm waiting until Friday personally, because that's when I get paid. So
Payday, yeah, right,
money out, money in, that's what
yeah.
most people do, right? They immediately spend their
Absolutely,
paycheck at their job.
yeah.
Totally normal. All right.
We were
And the
trying to
Rune
think
Arcanist
about
too.
but before we shift gears off of Rick
Okay,
Loneman,
sorry.
the the addition of a new ability to an existing card, has that ever happened before? Is this the first
Uh,
instance that that's ever been
I think
applied?
so. I think so, but I'm not 100% sure because when I started, I wasn't really paying attention. So I don't know, but I think so.
I've never heard that anything. I know there's been in the past a couple like a long time ago. There's a couple cards that they nerfed abilities for, but like I've never heard that they've added this kind of new ability. Um,
Retroactively. Yeah.
which is cool. And it was cool that they kind of added it in the update prior to this card coming out, right? So we knew.
Mhm.
And I mean, is it just the one card? Is it just the That's
Palace.
like
Yeah.
different thing. Yeah, the Palace. Was it just Palace?
Yeah,
Because Joey had said there was going to be 2 cards, so
it's just Palace
just Palace.
for now,
Or now,
quotation
okay,
marks for the listeners.
okay.
No promises whatsoever regarding that statement. I may have just made it up. Who
No,
knows?
I
But
mean Joey.
there might.
Joey said there was
Cat's
two
out of the
cards.
bag. Cat's out of
Oh,
the
Joey had
bag.
said it was going to be 2 cards that were going to get it. So when
well,
I was looking to trying to figure out what the other card was, I had some ideas of what the
Did he
second
say
one
that?
would be, but what?
uh, well,
Is it not? Is the 2 cards not Rick Loneman and Palace?
No, he said it was going to be an ability added to 2 cards. He said one of them was very obvious from the lore. I mean, I'd have to go back and re-listen to the episode, but my recollection was that he had said it was going to be added to 2 cards.
who
Yeah.
knows? There's no way to ever know that. I guess you'll just have to wait
I
for
I have a
official
feeling that
confirmation.
LilyFire knows, and she's just
Yeah,
No, I don't know anything. I just kind of hang out and make stuff up. So,
yeah. I mean, you're on the record for saying that you are super nosy and trying to get into
what?
figure out what's going on for everything. So
Using my words against me? I came on here in good faith. No, it's fine.
let's talk Rune Arcanist.
Mm,
What do you guys think about the I think Phase Ward has got to be kind of the calling
Yeah,
card here
that's the thing,
for
right?
yep.
yeah. Uh I did get a level 4, so I've got the Phase Ward active and available. I haven't played it yet, but
I figured you would have been all over playing that with General Sloan, man. Cryptic and
General
General Sloan with
Slade,
the Phase Ward. I
Commander
thought you would have
Slave.
been or
Commander
Commander
Slade.
Slade. Sorry,
Yeah,
I don't
Uh,
know where I
man.
got General
I
Sloan
love
from.
that card. That's such a good card. Oh
that is
man.
Yeah.
still my favorite of the reward. I feel
Right.
like
Have you not used that
everybody's
yet? You haven't tried that combo out? Because as soon as I saw this card, I thought you were gonna be like
Yeah.
all over that. Like that was gonna be your thing.
I think while there's things like force field in play, Slade is pretty niche, but I longer term, I think Slade is going to be absolutely must have, awesome, best of the bunch as far as this reward set is concerned. But that said,
But
I
yet
do feel like there are some really
the
key rule
exposed
sets where
takes the
you
force field off.
yeah. But well, I did just get the Rune Arcanist last night, and I've only played maybe 3 or 4 matches, so
Okay.
not yet. But I will 100% be playing. The phase ward plus the blind with the dodge and the high speed and the backfire. Yeah, that's like perfect synergy. So I will
Yep.
be trying it.
Beautiful.
She is
We had a
pricey
lot
at
of
7
fun.
mana though. I feel like that's
Yeah.
you're looking at 24 mana just for
For
the
just those 3
cryptic
cards.
Slade
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arcanist play.
Mhm.
Yeah. As long as you're not getting a Mantroth, I suppose it's probably a fair
Yeah,
bet.
but
But
I mean, just throw the Medallion Guardian in there and I don't know, especially that's why like some of these things I'm like I only play I mean I play WoW a little bit, but I play it mostly in the brawls. But yeah, some of these like plays ideas I have in my head, it's like, oh man, when you get like kind of that those old school water cards, we can throw like the 1 mana like the Albatross in there with the heal and the
Mhm.
Medallion Guardian. It's like, who cares, man? That 30 mana, like that's a dominant team you can roll out there, you know?
Oh yeah. Good times. We definitely had a lot of fun playing with that card as well. And ultimately we did feel that it was justified with the mana cost because phase is an underrated ability and it
Yeah.
can really make the difference win or lose, especially when you got those magic heavy teams. They think they're so cool. They think they're just gonna hit everything and no one's gonna play phase. Well, guess what? Your
Yeah.
time has come. So deal with it or, don't. It's up to you. You're an adult.
I
So
I want to play that in my maybe I shouldn't be even saying this. But like my wild teams with the Kraken,
mm,
because you know how it gets the enrage.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
So like if you're
Yeah.
playing, if you got the mana to play like the blind with the Kraken and the Rage and the speed goes up super high and now he's got phase and you got the heals and the repairs in there, like that's already like a very dominant wild team to play anyway, or especially if you got that, what's the little range guy in the back who's got the heal plus the tower. Um
The
he's
range
like
guy?
the three mana range guy who's got tank heal and protect. Um
The reward
gosh.
card?
No. It's an old wild card. It's an old untamed card.
Oh,
Hmm.
Crustacean King.
Crustacean King.
Oh
Crustacean. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So like Crustacean
Right.
King, Mordalian Guardian, the Albatross. Um yeah, that's a pretty gnarly lineup to try to beat as it is. So just giving the Kraken phase, it would be tough. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a game changer,
Yeah.
but we'll see. I mean, we find it takes a little bit of time for people to kind of warm up to cards. I mean,
Yeah.
habits die hard, and it's like anything else. You do it enough, you get used to your favorite teams. It's hard to slot new cards in there, but
Yeah.
really, guys, it's okay. Like you can
It's okay.
throw some new cards in there. Who knows how the
Yeah.
meta will change?
And that's like one of the things I feel like, especially with some of these promo cards coming out, is, and I don't think this is a bad thing. I think this is a really awesome thing, is that the team might be kind of focused on what the meta would be with the modern. They're more focused on modern and not so much worried about all the combinations that you can create in wild because it's so many permutations. Like, how would you even, begin to like care about that? Like, you shouldn't, because it's like you'll never just create any more like fun cards.
Right.
But I feel like there's ways you can kind of, these things are like, you can take these things and apply them to wild in ways that are just amplify like how awesome they are, that people aren't necessarily originally focused on, because we're so focused on how this is going to play in the leaderboards in modern. But
Yeah.
for people who like to play wild, like us, and people who are in brawl, like the wild brawls, you know, these cards have some really good, even better value than what they have in modern, because yeah, you can put together some super OP teams if you just have the right pieces, I think. So
Yeah,
that's what I get excited
absolutely.
about.
It's like the wild, wild west out there, you know? You could just do whatever you want, all
Yeah.
willy-nilly, all these combinations. I have a great time out in wild. Some
Yeah.
days more than others, but in
Yeah.
general, it's a good time. Yeah, my favorite thing to do is peek at my opponent's previously played teams. And if they're playing like straight alpha, beta, or untamed cards, well, guess what? Rebellion's coming your way. You're about to
Yeah.
learn. Take that, you bot, or I hope it's a human, but who knows?
Do you
Yeah. I
find the rebellion summoners to be that valuable in wild? I feel like Cryptic
Absolutely.
is such a boss in
Yeah.
Cryptic and Tofu. It's I feel
You
like those
know,
two.
they are great. And I absolutely love the squirrel, risk squirrel draft. I feel like he gets a bad rap sometimes, like snare on Tofu. Yeah, you pretty much give the entire Tofu team true strike against risk roll. And that's where looking at your opponent's previously played teams come in handy. Like Tofu players just spam Tofu generally, like you'll see it. So then you don't play the squirrel against them. But the squirrel's so useful that that true strike and the impede, put that on Grum, and like he is hitting everything every time, and that just makes me so happy. It makes me happy when he kills. Totally normal. So and then the taunt, I love using the taunt when it's the ferocity rule set, because then you just put the taunt on your opponent's strongest card and like bam, taken down. I don't even care if I win. Like it's about sending a message at that. Don't bring your Grim Smith or your Cora around me, because I will kill them. And sure, you might win, but I still had a good time, like taking your guy down. So, and the flying is great, plus range. Like, I think of all the summoners, Risk Scroll is my top favorite, then Cryptic, then Lorcus. And Tofu is fun, but I like to challenge myself, and I feel like Tofu's it's so easy to win with it. Like you don't really have to, try that hard. Maybe I'm wrong, that's just my experience, but I like to I like to really, challenge myself and try to show my opponent something new when I play. Like my win rate, it's like average, little over 50%. But like I literally don't care because I just play for fun. Like I know I'll never solve this Rubik's Cube. Like I'm not trying to get, super high on the leaderboard, but it's a good time for me. It's the mental exercise that I find value in. So, and I
That's
think we need, more
awesome.
players with that mindset. It would be super cool if we could attract players who are resilient to failure, who see every battle as a learning experience and genuinely just enjoy the experience that is Splinterlands. Like, I am your target market. Let's make the game for me. And thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Lily, I wish I could embrace
Preach.
that
That's great.
philosophy. I was
Yeah.
I was just gonna say the squirrel. I want to love the squirrel so badly. I am any chance I get, I'm gonna be bugging to get snare reworked. I feel like it has to
Mhm.
be. I hate seeing the
Yeah,
squirrel just
I
because it
know.
I yeah, it's such a good card that like in opportunity rule sets, for example, I love throwing True Strike on like the Drybone Raider and just
Mm,
watching him go absolutely ham. Uh,
yeah,
but as long as there's tofu on the other side,
it's
it's
tough.
completely moot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we have been talking about some options for reworking snare. No promises. This is all speculation. But some of the ideas that have come forward include making snare just snare on the first hit, and then like regular RNG applies after that. Making it so that RNG applies to snare, period. Like there's no guarantee. And any other, so I guess if anyone like has ideas, I've been kind of trying to use that gameplay strategies channel in Discord. You can always drop some ideas for snare in there. I'm not saying it's a super high priority for the team or that we'll see any changes in the like next release, but it is something that the team has been thinking about and is on our radar. And player feedback, hey, teamwork makes the dream work, and that's what you guys are also here for. Help us out, okay?
You're such a team player, Lily. I love it.
Seriously.
Love it. Well, I yeah, I'm trying to think about upcoming TPG challenges. I don't know if you've seen or looked through some of our submissions or even that we had this TPG challenge, but
I
okay.
am aware of them. I haven't looked too closely, but I know that they exist, and I know that you do.
Well,
So,
I would call that a victory. I just the fact that their existence is acknowledged by you. That's awesome. But something that I've been thinking about for a future one is rule set ideas.
mm,
And something that I really, really want to see is, we the only, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but the only rule set that affects what summoner you can play is Little League, right?
yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure
Arguably.
lost legendaries and the common and rare ones don't impact summoners. And do the
Odds and
even
evens
Stevens
don't,
and
you
odds,
know.
yeah, which
Yeah.
is weird, isn't it? Shouldn't they? Do you
Yeah.
think? Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
I want to see rule sets that limit legendary summoners because
Hmm.
there's like the what is it, Halaran Huntress and the Thanalorian Blade. I
mhm,
want to play them so badly, but as long as Earth is on the table, you're guaranteed it's
crazy
tofu.
tofu.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a great idea. It could be a lot of fun, kind of force people out of their comfort zone, which is, it's how learning takes place, and it's how increased interaction with the game takes place. Because if you're just doing the same thing over and over again, just on autopilot, are you really having fun? Really having a good time? I don't
So
know.
I'll say too, like I like playing, kind of keeping my cards at a gold level, and I have sort of been, as much as I've been playing, has sort of kept me at kind of gold 2 or gold 1, and I don't see that many like tofu hands. Like it's very rare that I see tofu, right? It's not something I'm that worried about. I feel like that's gotten to be one of those cards where it's kind of moved into the upper echelons where it's just kind of those people on like, either in Diamond or Champion and the leaderboards. It's one of those things that's rare enough and OP enough for them that they're using it, and I don't see it and I don't worry about it. And I do use that Mandalorian card sometimes. And like I just like, it's not a card I'm that concerned with. So yeah, and almost in a sense it's kind of, I I I like it. I like, and I'm playing more on my phone again because the mobile experience has gotten better. I
Yay.
really enjoy it now. I'm starting to get back into playing a couple games, a few games a day when I'm at work. Just taking a break and playing, which is what I used to do. Um, and yeah, so I don't know. I feel like, and we've talked about this before, where like gold is a really nice level of the game where it's not so much RNG, and I don't feel like I had the pressure that every win might bump me out of, especially now that like I used to get to that point where like, as I used to hit the gold leaderboards and would be play for fun for a while, and then the last few days of the season it was like high pressure, high stakes. Like I
Mhm.
want to try to get up there and get to that, but since that's been eliminated to only like the highest levels, it took some of the juice out of me wanting to play and get there. But now I've kind of come back around where it is kind of fun to just be able to play and try to be creative and put together things that are like different and interesting to me to play, and not have to worry so much, well, if I lose this match, I'm gonna get like knocked down so many spots on the leaderboard because the leaderboard doesn't exist for me anymore. So yeah, I don't know. It is kind of like I'm trying to particularly how like I am kind of trying to find that just that pure fun again about the game, as opposed to worrying about being in a certain ranking. And it's been kind of enjoyable to, and especially now with the other issue I had before was, well, if I didn't want to like buy rebellion cards because it didn't make sense, because the only thing that would make me a better player would be buy higher level Chaos Legion cards. And I didn't want to do that because it's not sustainable for me, because I didn't want to buy max sets moving forward. And now that there is kind of a clearer time view where um, Chaos Legion is going to go out, I am starting to pick up more Rebellion cards, because I'm like, now I'm preparing for the day where I am just going to kind of be back in that kind of gold level player where that's what I'm going to have. And I have a few summoners and like a bunch of Chaos Legion cards that are kind of at that max level. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that now, where I'm like, oh, I'm buying cards again. Like I'm actually putting money into the game. I'm buying cards. I'm having fun trying out the different Rebellion cards, where before I was kind of just like, well, this isn't fun because I'm going to hit that wall where, I'm just going to go up like hit against max level Chaos Legion decks where I'm going to lose. And yeah, I don't know. It's been good. I'm more interested in the game, playing the game more often than I was kind of like 6 months ago, or just kind of felt like, what am I going to do? What's my strategy going to be moving forward? I don't know. So I'm just kind of in limbo. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for saying that, because one of the goals that Call Me Tim has had has been to foster more creative, engaging gameplay. And I feel like he's, largely succeeded so far. And we have some interesting, fun stuff coming in Conclave Arcana that pretty excited about. Low key, no further comment.
Oh, we got to come on, at least a little bit more of a comment than that.
Well, okay, here's a little bit more. So, Conclave Arcana, it has cards. Some of them will be magic, melee, and range. Maybe some non-attack cards. If you're lucky, some of them have frames on them, and you can combine them to get more abilities. Good times.
Lily, you
And
you
summoners.
had me going
Oh,
there. I thought we were
sorry.
about to get some real alpha there.
I'm teasing. But yeah, I guess you might have to have Call Me Tim on if you want the alpha. I'm not at liberty to say. I'm not sure that my clearance is high enough to be talking about that stuff, other than to say we're working on it and it's very nice.
How about let's say this. Have you seen or played with any Conclave Arcana cards?
Yes.
Okay. As a player, on how excited are
here
you
comes
about
that
these
law
cards?
degree. That law degree is coming out to shine right now.
We're
Keep
gonna work
going,
on
Hep.
it.
Pursue,
So no,
pursue.
I just want to know, like, as someone who's a player, not necessarily a team member, we don't need any like messaging. You don't need to sell us. How excited are you about these cards? You don't have to tell us anything about them, but from what you've seen, like, give us a level of excitement you've got for them.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna say a solid 11, because these cards are going to positively impact my experience in both modern and significantly more in wild.
Significantly more in wild.
I love it. All right.
For no
All right.
particular reason, just because.
Okay.
Sure.
That's definitely
Wink,
interesting.
wink.
I like it.
Yep.
Awesome.
Nice.
Well, I think Joey kind of spilled the beans that you guys had already kind of put the polish on the mini set, right? And now it's a matter of expanding the mini set into Conclave Arcana. I don't know if Joey had the clearance to spill the beans on that either, but he
I don't
But he
know.
did
I'm not
the
a
beans
cop.
are all over the floor. The beans are all over
Joey's
the
the
floor.
highest level of clearance in his department, so I think
He is.
It's
felt he
true.
could do whatever
It's
he
true. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Joey's amazing. Such a talented guy. A resident wordsmith. So funny. Sometimes I'll write some copy, for the site, or have him look over. We write the academy panels, those little pop-outs. Usually I'll write them, and then he edits them. And although I consider myself a fairly educated person, I got, a bachelor's in psych, a minor in English lit. Whenever Joey edits my work, he makes me feel like I learned to read from a bowl of Cheerios, because I'm always just like, oh, like, just like, wow, like, am I really okay? You caught that. So yeah, he's phenomenal, talented, and his passion and his dry sense of humor and wit, like, it's good stuff. Very much enjoy that gentleman.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we here at the People's Guild will echo that 100%. Joey is great company to hang out with, and yeah, I feel like we can't wrap up on a better note than, that's kind of been the theme of this whole episode is you tipping your cap to relative other folks on the team, and yeah, you guys, shout out to you and the whole team. I feel like we've got such a unique conglomerate of people and personalities and minds, and it's, like Hep was just saying, it feels like the ship is turning, and things are starting to align, and we promise not to talk politics, but we can talk consequences of politics. The market had a massive response, and it just kind of feels, looking at the next 6 months with Conclave Arcana slated for about 6 months from now, we could be looking at a massive influx of everything that we've been working for the last couple of years with respect to Splinterlands. So
yeah, and we are working hard to make sure that we are ready for that. The team has been through so much, like, we are so hungry for that. We come to work every day, we show up, we give our best, we work together, we do multiple jobs per person, like, we are ready. And this has been, probably one of the best learning experiences of my life. The community is phenomenal. Like you don't get this, working at a general customer service job or any other kind of job. Like people at Walmart don't come up to the service desk and say, "Hey, I think you'd sell more product if it flowed like this instead. Have you guys thought about like restructuring the shelves?" Like you don't get that, right? So like the fact that we have a community who cares and voices that they care, and they play the game like you're not just coming in, spreading salt anymore. It's just like even when people are negative, like it's coming from a place of trying to make things better. It's coming from a place of frustration and wanting Splinterlands to truly achieve the potential that we all know it has. Like we wouldn't be sticking around here if we thought Splinterlands wasn't going anywhere. We all believe in the product, and hey, like I am along for the ride. I'm throwing my lot in with you guys. We are tied together. So let's come together and make it work. It's time. So thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. I mean, anytime we have a team member on, I'm always blown away by your guys' personal passion for the project. I think that's something that always comes out, not just here, but in the town halls, and absolutely in the work you guys do in Discord. And since we're kind of winding it down a little bit here, that is definitely one thing I wanted to close with, is just kind of give you the space to say, how can we as a community sort of like help you guys or help you do your jobs better? If there's anything you would like to kind of say to get out there for people to know, kind of the floor is yours. Like, how can we help you guys, do your jobs better and kind of make Splinterlands the best it can be?
Yeah, so I'd say there are three major things. The first one is if you see a new player in Discord, please help them. Like we're not monitoring 24/7. Like it's kind of a bummer when we come in and like a new player's asked a question and no one's answered and it's been like hours and it's like, okay, they're gone now. But a lot of the times we do see people engaging with new players and helping them out. And I just want to give a lot of gratitude and positive reinforcement for that behavior. Like I consider everyone, everyone should take responsibility. Like we say new player experience, new player experience. Well, guess what? You guys are part of that. Like you're part of the team, you're part of the community. You want it to happen. Sometimes you got to put some skin in the game and like answer a question, or point them to tech support, pull up an article. That would be super helpful because it's the boots on the ground stuff. It's like the grassroots movement that's really gonna get things going because everyone says bear market or no, bull market. Solve all our problems. We're gonna get new players coming in. It's gonna be a flood. Well, that's cool, but in my experience, I feel like people start coming in as a trickle and then it's a stream, then it's a river, then it's a flood. So we're going to kind of gradually amp up. It's not going to be like just one day we have a million new players. It's going to be people start trickling in and the word spreads. So we need to give people who come to our Discord a really good experience with the community. The second thing would be if you experience a bug, if you experience an issue with the game, please submit a support ticket, because if you submit a support ticket, it helps us to gauge the severity of the issue, helps us to gather information privately, because going back and forth on Discord trying to like get information about what's going on, it's not really the best area to be doing that, especially if we need console logs. We need to know like what browser you're using, all this stuff. Do you really want randos on Discord seeing your stuff? Like a support ticket is really, really the best. Not that there's any randos on our Discord. Sorry about that implication. No one take offense to that.
We're all randos on the Discord. Don't worry. No one's taking
I
offense
didn't say that. What? So support tickets are the best way to get bugs resolved. And then we'll email you like when it's fixed so that you can help us QA it, because sometimes we'll push out a hot fix and we just need you're experiencing the bug. Okay, like let's follow it through. Let's make sure it's fixed for you. and like tagging people on Discord for that kind of stuff. It's not ideal. We'll do it, but support tickets are really the way to go. The last thing, so the Knowledge Center, it's my passion project. You know, I just haven't had the time to update it as extensively as I would like. Like I have a whole backlog of tickets. The Knowledge Center is a full-time job. Actually, when we had a full team, we had like 6 people on that job full-time. So if you come across an article, particularly one that you think a new player is going to be looking at, and you're looking at it and it's like, oh man, this is out of date, this is trash, just like shoot me a support ticket that's like, here's the article link, this is where the problem is, update it to this, like, or just drop me a link and say this is awful, fix it, like, and I'll put it in the backlog. But the most helpful things are if you point out exactly where in the article there's an issue, then I can just go in and be like, oh, 2 minutes, as opposed to having to like read through the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, I just think that we're a community, we're a team, we need to work together to make things good. And yeah, those are the areas where we could really use the most help. And I lied, there's one more thing.
All right.
So
3B.
Yes, there will come a time in the, future, unspecified time frame, when we intend to put battles for VNext up on the map server. Now, VNext battles take an incredible amount of testing. They're looking really good so far. If you want to help us make sure that this product goes out well, relatively not buggy, it would be super cool if we as a community could pull together and get some hardcore testing on maps. I don't know, like, I don't know if streamers would want to check it out or what we could do to like build some hype around it, but we literally just need lots of people on there playing ranked battles, playing brawls, playing tournaments, making sure there's no weird redirect issues, making sure the animations are right, making sure things look good across a variety of devices. Like this is our baby, right? Like the battles, it's literally the most important part of the product. And it would be super cool if there's any issues, if we discover those before full release. So when it comes time and we sound that horn for Mavs testing, it would just be really cool if we could get a lot of engagement with that. And I won't promise anything, but even if you're not a Mav, we can probably get you access, because we're just going to need people to look at that and help us out, because it's a big project and we do our best, but there's realistically like only so much we can turn up. We do a ton of testing. Antioch is a phenomenal developer. I have the utmost faith, but it's like the random stuff, like, oh, I submitted a team for the brawl and like the timer was up, and then a tournament submitted, and then I played a ranked battle and the whole game crashed. Like just random stuff, things that we may not necessarily think of to test. So yeah, it would just be great to get community eyes on that when it's time. No ETA.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Yeah, I know. I am not I do not have access to Map Server, but if I were to get access to Map Server, I would be definitely willing to help out with that. Yeah, awesome. And I think that's for the articles, I think that's maybe we can do a TPG challenge or two to help out with that. Jangles, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I don't know what you've got in the pipeline. But yeah, I think if we can get people to kind of help go through that and identify that, if we can kind of incentivize them through the PT article and the challenge to help out with that, I think that's definitely good idea for everyone. So yeah, thank you for that. Those are definitely, I like that you had like very specific. Did you plan for that ahead of time to know, like, if you asked me this, or is this just something you had?
Well, you want to know what my secret is? Yes. It's a little thing called maladaptive daydreaming. I've been thinking about this for like a little bit. So I'm just like, okay, I may or may not have like a 4-page document that I'm referring to. about things. I just like to be prepared. I can't help myself, you
I
know?
love it.
I
I
love it.
love it.
Yeah.
So,
Lily, that was such an awesome answer. And just the TLDR is be kind, help each other. I want to shout out the community. I feel like, when I first came in, that was such a big difference maker for me, was being able to hop in and ask questions. And I came in as part of the Phoenix Arcade. That's where I met Hep and joined up with my buddy Waskell. It feels like an eternity ago, but it was all about delegating cards and maybe sponsoring some DEC for a trade, or whatever it was. Super helpful, and we've seen that extended into Discord. And I feel like most of the time the community is really, really helpful. But yeah, appreciate the reminder to be kind. And as far as incorporating the TPG challenge into helping identify any outdated articles or images that may not be relevant to new players just coming in, yeah, I would love to set one of those up. I'll at some point in the next couple of weeks, Lily, I'll reach out to you and make sure that our messaging on the TPG challenge is in kind of a agreement with what you have in mind. And yeah, I would love to put the contest together to help out with that sort of stuff. And
thank you so much.
of course, yeah, of course. I don't know how much of like Hep called out, and like our good buddy Dave made so abundantly clear once upon a time, we don't have that many. Nobody listens to the People's Guild. So it's been a while since we it's been a while since we ripped Dave about that one, but there it is.
There you go.
And then testing on the map server. On a personal note, man, it's been a while since we've done a TPG battle royale. I would love to do one of those on the map server with the VNext battles. Get a whole group of folks on there to run battles and test and try and break stuff. Yeah, so just keep us posted. And I have I've silently been nudging Call Me Tim to lean into the community for as much testing as possible, whether it's on cards or new abilities, or QAing something as massive as a new battle screen. Yeah, I think there's a community that's hungry to help as much as possible. And I will say I will be severely disappointed if you guys put the call out there and this community does not rise to the occasion. I would be surprised, but I would. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, hey, I believe in you guys, and I think the community is also sensing and understanding that it's time. I feel like we've been dormant for a little while, but like we just got to get it together. We just gotta be ready, gotta do things right, gotta work together,
Make that
get
push.
it done.
Lily, let's get you out of here. I want to say, I express my gratitude for all that you do and the positive attitude, and seeing that it 100% translates to in person, as quote unquote as in person as this is. Your authenticity, you're 100% genuine. Your positivity is awesome. And on behalf of everybody that you've touched in Splinterlands, and for the new players that have yet to come, thank you. You are so awesome. Your positivity and the influence that you have, the touch that you have on the community is not unnoticed. So for any time you didn't get a thank you, I will personally thank you on behalf of everybody. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
100%.
I appreciate it.
Well,
and
this, yeah, it's our pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of this conversation. I can't believe we've already passed the 2-hour mark. I feel like I say that every week, but kudos to you and your 4 pages of notes. I don't know if we've ever had a guest
were there any notes we didn't get to? Is there anything on the note sheet you need to get off your chest before we?
No, of course not. We're good.
Okay.
I'll just save them for next time.
All right.
All right. Well, we're gonna hold you to that, Lily.
Hold you to that.
There
Yeah,
is a next time. Well, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for I know that you were a little bit hesitant to come on with us, and I reached out once upon a time, many moons ago, and you asked for some time to reconsider, and here you are. We finally made it happen, and I'm so grateful that you did. This was awesome conversation. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and once again, thank you for making an appearance and for all that you do for all of us.
Yeah.
Anytime, guys. Thanks so much and enjoy your night.
Wonderful.
Thanks.
All right, everybody. We will be back next week with the recent hire Blaze. So back-to-back team members. Been a little while since we've had that happen. So super excited to get Blaze on and hear what's happening in the exciting world of marketing and what is a brewing.
The newest team member. We're gonna get the newest team member on. So yeah, it'll be exciting. Yeah. This has been great though. Yeah. I just also want to say, thanks for everything. I don't want to just like echo everything that Ben just said, but yeah, I really, really appreciate all that you do. And for you jumping on here, I hesitant to say I don't want to throw any disparaging shade on any of our other guests, but like this has been such an awesome episode. Having just any other fellow Dune lover on, it always puts you like a notch above everybody else. I'll give it to you for that. So also this has been great. It's been a lot of fun. So I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Looking forward to the next one, guys. Thanks for everything.
Awesome. All right, everybody, tune in next week. It will be an earlier episode. I think Tuesday, Wednesday, it should drop, but
Monday,
hopefully
Tuesday will drop.
Yeah, Tuesday. I think Tuesday. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the show. Lots to take away here. So much positivity. Smile. Have a good day. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch you on the next episode. You have been listening to
The People's Guild.